Hello there guys, my name is Omegalu, you're watching FM Scout's Tactic Tester, the series where I go on and test the tactics on the FM Scout website, which you can submit yourself. So if you have a bang up tactic that you think needs to be tested, that's where you can do so. Head on over to the FM Scout website, fmscout.com, go onto the tactic screen and it will tell you exactly how to upload your tactic. Now this tactic is more of like a part 2, really, from the previous tactic video I did with Stade Rennais. If you remember rightly, we took them to 3rd place with very high possession statistics after the end of the season in Ligue 1. And I thought to myself, and I said to you guys, if you'd like to see a part 2 where we take on maybe a much stronger side in a league and see if they can dominate, would you be interested? You guys said yes. Quite a few of you thought that would be a fantastic idea to really see whether this tactic can go long places with better sides. So I've done that just today. And this is the side that I have chosen to go with. Red Bull Leipzig. Of course, they have just signed Dani Olmo in real life, a man who I am very much enjoying on Football Manager. But this is the tactic, of course, that we had seen the Guardiola's football philosophy, if you remember rightly. Positive mentality with playing out defence, much shorter directness, slightly lower tempo, dribbling less as well, being more expressive and working the ball into the box. We had the most passes by about 2,000 at the end of the season, even above Paris Saint-Germain, PSG, who dominated the league. And finishing in 3rd place, I think, was a massive success if you consider how many good sides there are in France. Not a gegenpress, just a bit more of a counter press, and out of possession, quite a high line, preventing the goalkeeper distribution and staying on feet. Not using the offside trap as well. This is a formation that's using 2 Metzales in the middle, 2 inside wingers, and a centre forward. Wing backs on support only, a half back who I think is vital in this role. I've decided to go with Leipzig, not for any reason other than they are one of the biggest sides in Germany. Obviously, I think they're like top of the league or near the top of the league in real life. They're doing very well under Nagelsmann. And I think it would be quite a good option to try. I didn't want to go like Dortmund or Bayern because they're almost too big. But I think Leipzig is just that tier underneath on Football Manager anyway. Who, if this tactic really is the business, we'll soon see whether it does or not. Let's quick pick it just to see who they decide to choose. Obviously, there's going to be a few players out. There's a lot of players out. So I'm imagining a lot of these players would get into this side. But you can just sort of see what the assistant manager is starting to think of. They have players like Ampandu, Adamola Lookman, a couple of British players up there, and this man as well, who's very good and turns out to be quite a good player indeed, a wonder kid, Matheus Cunha. So we have a very good lineup with a lot more players to come back off holiday. So it's going to be interesting to see how this game gets on. If we have a look at the league table before we go a year forward, at the season preview, they are predicted to finish in 5th place behind the likes of Leverkusen and Schalke, which I am quite surprised with. I thought they would be naturally finishing in 3rd place. So that's quite intriguing to me. Right, enough of this. Let's go a year into the future and see exactly what this tactic can do with a much stronger side with Red Bull Leipzig. Well, here we have it. 24th of May 2020, and as you can see, 2nd in the league. Just by 3 points. 1 victory away from, alright, 1 victory plus a draw because they would have beat us on goal difference, from dethroning Bayern Munich from their German dominance. That's quite good. I think that's quite good. Look how many draws they had as well. They had the least amount of losses in the league. So again, as we've seen in the last episode with Rennes, they're not losing a lot of games. Rennes seem to have like the least amount of goals scored against them, I think, if I remember rightly, and I think Leipzig also have the same pretty much. Other than Bayern Munich's 24, they have 27. The second amount of the second lowest goals conceded, but the least amount of losses. Augsburg and 2 from Frankfurt. So they didn't even lose to Bayern Munich. Interestingly enough, they drew to Bayern Munich once there, so they've actually defeated Bayern in a game. If we have a look there, they haven't. That's bizarre. Maybe it's because it's underneath, but anyway, we'll get to that in a second. Let's have a look at some of the stats then. The team overview. Goals. They are 4th overall in the goals. The best shooting accuracy, but that's got nothing really to do with the tactic. What we want to see. There we have the 2nd goals conceded. The best average possession, 7th. Wow. Now that surprises me. With Rennes, we were up there. Joint first with PSG, but we had the most passes. With Leipzig, a better side, not necessarily the most possession. Intriguing. Best crossing completion, not up there. Best passing accuracy. Maybe that's actually got something to do with it. Only 84%. Still the third best in the league, but maybe if they have better passes, they would be passing a lot more and keeping the most possession. Maybe that's where they went wrong. If we go on to this page, passes completed, yet again, 15,000 passes completed. We do actually have the most passes completed in the Bundesliga, beating out Dortmund and Mainz, with Bayern in 4th place. So 15,000, over 1,000 more passes than Borussia Dortmund there in 2nd place. So it does have something to do with it. But the pass completion ratio, I think, maybe stunted them from keeping the most possession in the game. So while we're here then, we'll have a look at the pass positions and have a look how Leipzig's getting on. So they had a very poor start. Interesting. So they did not get up until the European spots until here in match day 14, where that was like the tail off until they really became consistent. So I'd imagine then this start of the season, bedding into the tactic, getting players used to the tactic, might have cost him. Might be interesting to see how they would have got on in their 2nd season with maybe a couple more signings, how they would really have done. Maybe they could have dethroned Bayern Munich in the end. They were actually sitting top at one point, match day 18, but they were dethroned after that, down to 3rd place with a loss to Schalke. So, as we can see up here, Bayern Munich took the lead at the very end of the season, match day 26, and continued to go on and win the Bundesliga. But Leipzig, not bad if you ask me. That's quite good. We'll have a quick look then at the medical centre and see if they had a lot of injuries this season. It doesn't really seem like they did. Timo Werner was actually out the most, which could have had an effect. If he had injuries at the start of the season, when did this happen? So yeah. No, actually. He actually had a lot of injuries in the second part of the season. So that is actually quite surprising that they managed to... Well, they struggled at the start of the season, but managed to do quite well without probably their best striker. Very intriguing indeed. Competitions-wise, let's have a look how they got on in other competitions. They were knocked out of the 2nd round by Nuremberg, so they did really struggle at the start of the season. And they were very competitive, to be honest, in the UEFA Champions League. Knocked out in the 1st round knockout by Napoli. So that is quite interesting. I'm wondering who was in their group. Can we see that quite early on? They did have Liverpool. What a solid group that is. Liverpool, Leipzig, Ajax and Lyon. And to be honest, they've done very well to overcome that. Liverpool didn't actually lose any games. They lost both times to Liverpool, but they beat both Lyon and Ajax, and it was enough to get them through. So that is quite good, really, in the end. They did sort of struggle to get through, but Napoli, how much did they lose to Napoli by? So they actually lost on away goals to Napoli. So that's quite devastating. I'm quite disappointed for them. In that regard, it would have been nice to see how they would have got on if they managed to overcome that. But never mind, that's not to be too disgruntled at. Their performance at the end of the season was very good indeed. Only one loss since that actual loss to Napoli there, and that was against Augsburg on the last game of the season, which would have ended them, remember, if they had won that game on the same points as Bayern Munich. But they beat Borussia Dortmund 3-1 at the end of the season, so they've done very well there. A few draws here, though, 3 draws in a row, and you just think, just 2 wins there, 2 late goals, seals the deal. They've won the Bundesliga. But unfortunately, that is how it goes. Not to be sort of like Mystic Meg, but that is... They could have done it. They're quite unlucky, if you ask me. Let's see this then. The final thing to look at. Who scored the goals? Who got the assists? Timo Werner, no surprise that he is up there with 25 goals this season. How many was in the Bundesliga? 20 goals in the Bundesliga in 27 appearances. Not too bad. Sabitzer in there with 10 as well. We have Schick on 6. 5 for Emil Forsberg. Assist-wise, we have Sabitzer on 11. Halstenberg, the left-back, on 10. That's high for Halstenberg. Very nice figures there from him. 8 from Emil Forsberg, 3 from centre-back in Pandu, unless he played that half-back role. Let's have a look at that then, where he actually played. So tactics-wise, he did play in the DM role 37 times. So he did actually play centre-back. He played in that DM role as a half-back 37 times. How good is he at half-back? Fairly good, to be honest. Fairly good. Decent passing, good marking, very good tackling. He probably has got the perfect attributes for that role, you'd imagine, on technical-wise anyway. But overall, maybe a few more mental stats would be a lot better for him in that role. But he is obviously only 19 years of age. And I do think that half-back role is probably quite pivotal in this tactic. You probably need your best player, or you need a very good player in that half-back role. It's someone that you can't really just fit anyone in. Whereas, the Metzala roles, you can probably put one in there who's not as good as the other, and it won't really make too much of a difference. That half-back role, though, I think you need a pretty much all-star player in there, as well as that centre-forward role. But there we have it then, guys. Sort of successful, sort of not. I would like to have seen them win the Bundesliga and just sort of say like, yeah, you know what, this tactic is phenomenal. Maybe with a couple of changes. Obviously, this is just from going on holiday for a year and having them use this tactic with the assistant manager. Maybe if you do it yourself, using the tactic when they are closing games out, you change the tactic around slightly, go a bit more defensive. Obviously, they don't have the capabilities of doing so. And obviously, with your own signings, you can change how you play and everything like that. So maybe that is the reason why they didn't necessarily go on and win the Bundesliga. But I still think this was a successful tactic. I still really enjoy using this tactic myself on my Youth to Gold system. And of course, if you are enjoying the Youth to Gold system, make sure you put that down below so people who aren't watching it can be like, what is this Youth to Gold system? What am I missing? And they can read your comments and be like, look, you really need to be watching this. I'm only allowed to sign teenagers, and I'm not allowed to use anyone 30 plus. We are in the third season now going into, and it's been very successful so far. Some incredible signings, some very good regens coming through, and that's enough to bring you over, I think, personally. Anyway, but the link to my channel is down in the description where you can find those videos. But thank you very much for watching another video here on Tactic Tester on FM Scout. Leave a like if you can, that would be fantastic. Subscribe to the channel if you are new. And remember, if you've got a banging tactic, put it on the FM Scout website and let me know, and I can use it for the next Tactic Tester. But my name is Omega Luke. I'll see you for the next one. Bye-bye.